Alright, what's going on everyone? Today we're here on a platform called CSSBattle, and the main objective of this platform is to replicate these targets here with the smallest amount of CSS possible. Now for this first battle here we have 12 targets, and as you can see they tend to get a little bit more challenging as you continue on here to the very last one. Now what we'll be starting with today is number 3 and number 4, as number 1 and 2 are pretty simple, so I didn't want to waste too much time on these two, and number 3 is where it starts to get a little bit more challenging compared to number 1 and number 2. Now, like I mentioned, the main objective of this platform is to try to replicate this with the smallest amount of CSS possible, which I'm not going to aim to do. My objective here is to try to replicate this and get a 100% match. Now, the other challenge that I'm going to set for myself is a 10-minute timer, and I want to try to complete each one of these targets here within that 10-minute span. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get started with our first one here. Alright, so let's get started here. Now the first thing we want to do is enable our countdown timer here. So we have 10 minutes there. And what I'm thinking for this is we work from the outside and make our way in. Now, what I mean by that is it appears that we have just a rectangle here, and then we have these circles position absolute on top of this rectangle. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is on this div we have here, let's just add a class for a container to contain everything. And then what I'm thinking is we'll have an element or a div for each one of the elements that we need. So we have one for this rectangle itself, then this right here that blends in with the background is a circle, then this blue thing is another circle, and then this yellow dot is another circle. So it sounds like we need 4 different elements here. So the first div that we'll create here, we'll have a class, and we'll just say this is for the outer, and then we'll just do another div. Now I think we can also reduce the amount of styling that we need to write by grouping these. So we'll say circle, and then we'll do circle -1 here. And then let's just copy this down 2 more times, and we'll change this to 2, and we'll do 3 like that. All right. Now the next thing we can do is actually change the background color really quick on this. So we'll target the body tag, we'll say background, we'll copy this value right here, and we'll paste it in like that. Okay. Now we can also remove this initial div right here. So now what I want to do is we want to center everything in the middle of the screen. So I think the best way to do this is to target the container. And if you didn't know, you can actually push everything to the center very easily with a display grid. And we can do another property called place items and set that to center, and we don't have to deal with justify content center and align item center, so we can reduce the amount of lines here that we'll need to write. And then we just want to have this take up a height of 100% here to take up the full height here. So right now you're not seeing anything, but if I was to add a background color here, if we do background and we just say 000, you'll see it's like this. Okay, let's comment that out for now. Now the next thing we want to do is actually this outer div right here. So let's target this, and we'll have to play with the height and width values here. So let's just say a height, we'll try 150 pixels, and we'll do width, let's see, 150 pixels. Well, it's a rectangle, so the width probably is going to be more, so we'll do 250 like that. And the background here we'll add is this second one, so there we go. Now this isn't in the center, and I think I know why. Is because we have these 3 divs right here. So what we can do is let's just say circle, and we will say position, and we'll do absolute like that, and there we go. So now that's in the center. All right, so we can see this reveal element right here. We can see that our rectangle is a little bit too small, but the height is spot on. So let's try 250, and I think that's good. Okay, so that should do it for the rectangle. Now the next thing we want to do is going to be this first circle here, which is this right here. So let's come below here, and we'll say circle -1. And what we want to do is we need to give this a little bit bigger of a height and width of the initial rectangle here. So we gave it a width and height of 150 and 250. So let's just say width we'll do 300. Oh, we'll do 300. See how that works out for us. And then height 300, and then we'll do a border radius to round this here. And we'll say 50% like that. And we're not going to see anything, so we want to give it a background here. And what we'll do is this background color here, which will make it blend in. And what did we do wrong? Oh, it's colon. So that's obviously a little bit too big because it's covering up the whole entire thing right now. So let's try 200. And that looks a little bit off still. What did we do? Because now it looks completely off from what we had here. So did we make the circle too big maybe? I don't know. Let me try this. 150. 150. So that's actually going the wrong way. It seems like this needs to be longer. Is it 300 maybe? I thought we had this right. Okay, that seems to be better, but this needs to be larger now. So let's try 250 here and 250 there. And there we go. That's spot on. You can see there's no difference here. All right, so there we go. I don't know why that looked like that. I could have sworn it was good the way it was, but okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is going to be our second circle, which is this blue one right here. So let's just do circle 2 here. Now, we gave this a width of 250 and a height of 250, so this one's going to need to be a little smaller. So we'll say width, maybe 200 pixels, and a height of 200 pixels like that. And the background we want to give it is going to be this middle color right here. And there we go. And then we just want to get a border radius. So we can actually probably do that in all of them and save us a line of code here. Okay. So that's clearly a little bit too big. Let's try 175 maybe. Still a little big. Let's try 150. Okay, that's good. Now, the last thing we want to do is we need to do this yellow circle right here. And how much time do we have left? So it's almost been 7 minutes, so let's try to hurry up here. So we have circle 3, and this one's going to need to be probably like, what, 50 pixels? So we'll say width, 50 pixels, height, 50 pixels, and I think that should be good. Then we need to add a background color here really quick. Background, we'll grab this, and there we go. I think we are all set. Let's just comment out this to save us a line of code here, and let's hit submit, and hopefully that looks to be like 100% match, and it was. All right, cool, and we did that in about 7 minutes. So the next target that we're going to replicate is number 4. It is called ups and downs. Now, what I also did was increase the zoom level here within the browser, so that way it's a little bit easier to see the code and follow along, as with the previous target that we did, it was quite small and it may have been hard to read. So hopefully this is a little bit better. So the first thing we want to do is start our countdown timer here. We have 10 minutes, and let's see if we can replicate this. So what I'm thinking looking at this is we have a container, and we just want to position these 3 elements here absolute to the container. So it seems pretty simple and straightforward, but we'll see if it ends up being that way. So we'll add a class here, and we'll just say container. And then inside of this container, we want to have our 3 elements here. So we'll just add some classes here, and we'll call this child1. And then what we want to do is just copy this down a couple more times. So we'll say child2 and then child3 like that. Okay. So that should be it for the HTML. Now let's remove this initial styling for the div, and let's target the body here first, and let's give it a background, and we'll just do this purple color here, and there we go. So the next thing we want to do is target our container here, and we want to give this a fixed width and height. So we'll say width, and then we'll do let's see, it looks probably, let's just play with this. So 350 pixels, we'll do a height of, I don't know, 200 pixels, and then let's give it a background, and then we'll say black like that. Okay, so we take a look, we have something like this, but the issue is we want to push this into the center. So the easiest way to do that is going to be display grid, and there's a few ways you could do this, but like I said, this is probably the simplest way. And then we want to place the items here to the center like that. Okay, so there we go. The height is good here, but the width seems to be off. So let's try maybe 300. And yeah, that looks spot on. Okay, so the next thing we want to do here is actually probably style up these elements here. So what we can do is we can target the container and then the div here. And let's see, so it appears the width is probably about 1/3 because we have 3 spanning across. So we'll say width and 1/3 of 300 would be 100 pixels. And then the height appears to be half. So we'll say height 100 pixels here. And yeah, then we'll just add our background, which will be this yellow color here. And let's just paste it in like that. And there we go. Now, the next thing we want to do is position this absolute, CSOLUTE like that, and that'll take it out of the original flow it's at, and then it'll stick them all in the top left-hand corner here. And we're about 3 minutes in. We're doing pretty good. We may beat our previous time from the third target here. So what we want to do now is let's start off by targeting the first child individually, and we want to push that to the bottom here and also give it a little bit of a rounded corner here. So we'll say child number 1 here, and we'll say bottom, and we'll put that to 0. And let's see, it looks like it's positioning that absolute to the body, and to fix that, let's just change the position here on the container to relative, like this. I think I spelled that wrong, RELATIVA. I always spell this wrong, and there we go. Okay, so now the child here is going to be positioned relative to our fixed container. So that's good. And then we just want to add a border radius here, and we'll do 0, 0, 50%, 50%. And let's just do a semicolon there. That'll fix it. So what that does is the top 0, right 0, 50% on the bottom right, 50% on the bottom left. Okay, so there that is. Now the next thing is going to be child 2, and for this we want to set a left of 50% here. All right, and what we can do is then we can set a transform property here to kind of offset this issue when we use 50% here. So we'll say translate X, and then I believe you can just do negative 50%, and that'll kind of get you what you're looking for, like that. And yeah, so now it's in the middle here, perfect. So then for the border radius, let's just copy and then paste this in like this, and then we just want to swap these two out, and then we'll put that there, and I think that should be it. And we actually have to put the percent next to this, and there we go. All right, now the last thing is going to be our third child here, and I think we can just copy and paste this in here because we want the bottom. Yeah, so that'll be this, and then we have that like this. So right now it's in the same exact position as child 1, so then we want to set the right to 0, but we need to put a semicolon here, and I'm definitely missing the VS Code autocomplete and stuff like that here within this platform, and there we go. So we did that in about 5 minutes and 15 seconds, so I think we can probably do some refactoring here really quick. So it appears that this right here is the same in both of them, so let's do some shared styling here. So child 1 and say child, let's see, 3 here, and then we can just take this and then paste it in there, and then we can kind of get rid of that duplication here. We don't even need to target child 1 individually, and it still looks good. Okay, and I think that's all we can do here. So let's remove the background here from our container, and I think we have a spot on replication here, and we did it in about 6 minutes. So about, I think, 45 seconds faster. So the last part here is to see if we actually got 100% match. So we'll submit here, and let's see here, and there we go. So 100% match, and we did it in only, I believe, 6 minutes and 10 seconds. So pretty cool. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys did enjoy and you want to see more videos here on CSSBattle, be sure to leave a like on it down below, as this is a really cool and fun way to practice your CSS skills. But anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the next one.